So this book was written, and it's interesting because I finished this book last year. Last year when I finished this book, I was diagnosed with cancer, folks. I had a form of aggressive prostate cancer. If anyone knows about prostates and PSAs, my level was over 20. It was already out of the prostate. It was already in the lower parts of the stomach. So what did I do? I embraced it as a positive thing, as a learning thing. I looked at it as a new adventure and something exciting because I get to not just learn about a disease or something that's called cancer that so many people are afraid of. So many people, when I told them I had cancer, they go, oh, that's terrible, that's awful, because they had the fear of the unknown. And the unknown is the most enjoyable part of life, getting out of our comfort zone, exploring the unknown.
Well, fear and change have one thing in common. They're both the unknown.
Right, and so is the fear of death. That's why I wrote this book. So I had went in for radiation treatments because it was too advanced to do surgery. But at the same time, I geared my mind up to enjoy this. Almost look at it as something wonderful happening to me. Even though it might sound strange to people, I went in with a great positive attitude. I got everyone, in the radiologist laughing. I'd see other cancer patients in there, and I'd kind of get them away from thinking this dreadful, dismal outcome that they were walking around with this weight over their body. When I went in, I actually put myself in a low brainwave frequency state, stimulated my immune system as this machine, this radiation machine, was going over me. The doctor said after my 8.5 weeks, I was going to be tired, I was going to be weak, I wouldn't want to do anything but sleep. And my wife can attest to this. After those 8.5 weeks, I was exactly how you see me right now. Full of energy. I was able to travel and do shows. I beat the disease because I used medical technology with mind science. So the fact is, when we're getting back to now the prescription medicines, medicine in its right, for the right situation is a good thing.
Absolutely, but that's only a small fraction of the percentage
Absolutely.
of what's being prescribed today.
Right, and if we can help get kids off meds, if we can help get kids, get them in control of their mind versus their minds controlling them in the food, it's everything. It's food, it's thoughts, it's emotions, and it's the messages they give themselves. If I walk around every day saying life is terrible, guess what? I will have a terrible reality. If I walk around every day saying life is a miracle, and if I have a relationship with what you call a higher power or a God source, then I have the freedom to be able to let go of my ego and to sit there and enjoy the miracle every day and be a giver versus a taker.
You talk about different vibrations.
Absolutely.
Explain that.
Well, we operate on a vibrational plane that we call the physical plane, the earth plane. And there are different spiritual, what we might call levels or planes, which are all based on vibrations. So say a person is a low evolved human being, a person that just thinks of taking and has lustful thoughts or certain rages or angers. Absolutely. Those people, when they leave this physical plane, will probably be on a lower spiritual plane with the inhabitants that are similar to them. You know, I believe dabbling in psychic phenomenon or communicating with ghosts and spirits is a dangerous thing. I think there are too many people out there that are teaching these, finding these angels and spirit guides and all that stuff. And I think they're opening themselves up to things that are negative. Because most psychics communicate with low frequency, what we call entities. And that's why they can even impersonate themselves as a relative in that world. And I've been on shows with very famous, renowned psychics that everything that they said was incorrect. Misses. And it's because they're using that spiritual thing for monetary gains or for ego. And you know that in your life, that the true, real spiritual people aren't out there promoting it as a business.
They're selfless. They're no ego.
Right.
They're all soul. They're able to stay in the moment right here, right now, which is where the higher consciousness is at.
Absolutely.
And like I said, they're selfless. They're not about look at me and I can do better. And I know through my experience that every time I am on a mission to serve self, it's not very successful.
Right.
Every time I'm on a mission to serve other people, through the powers and the the magic and the characteristics and the specialties that I've been given, then it works.
Right. Selfless.
Yes, selfless.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, when we talk about disease, that is dis-ease. Absolutely. So the words, these words that we were raised in, they really mean something.
So in your book, Never Fear Dying Again, does it talk about the levels of vibration?
Absolutely. It talks about all of the different spiritual planes, or what we might, I like to say spiritual planes. You have astral planes, and then you have spiritual planes that take you closer to your God source. Take you closer to that infinite power that in the Eastern world, they don't even, they say the mystery of mysteries. Can't even give it a name. We give it a name God, or we give it a name Buddha, or we give it a name Krishna, Muhammad, or Jesus. So we're putting it into a human form almost for us to understand. But it is a power much greater than we can even imagine. And it's such, and if you can just even get to the point of being a loving, unconditional, loving human being, you're closer to God here in the spirit, in the physical world.
I once experienced the other side. And we were all balls of energy with no mass.
Right.
And it was pitch black. It was darkness. Right? But we were light, balls of light with no mass, no energy.
Right.
Balls of energy. And we were able to pass through one another. And the only emotion there was love.
Absolutely. And you know, in the spirit world, we don't communicate with words, but we can communicate, you know, kind of what we might call spiritually or through our thoughts.
Telepathy.
Well, telepathy, or what we might call spiritual communication. And again, well, I was talking about some of the greatest discoveries occur in the spirit world. And a perfect example is when you're sleeping at night and you're dreaming and all of a sudden you wake up with an idea. That idea might have been transcended down from a higher astral plane. Now, the interesting thing about the spiritual planes, we talk about vibrations. The higher you go, the finer the mesh, the finer the vibration. Meaning low evolved spiritual entities cannot go up and dilute or pollute or contaminate the more higher spiritual levels. Absolutely. But the people on the higher spiritual levels, the people that have reached certain states of true love and giving and caring and no ego, they can come down to help the lower plane guys.
This is all starting to make sense now, but does that have a lot to do with reincarnation in our reincarnated state, and come back to learn lessons and
absolutely
different planes or different levels?
Absolutely. You come back basically to... No, this is real interesting because my book talks about this, and this is real exciting.
Never fear dying again.
Yep,
never fear dying.
Yeah, never fear dying again.
Either,
your soul's pathway to life. Remember, I didn't say pathway to death. It's to life. Life is eternal. Death is but a transition from one plane to another, from the material world to the spiritual world. From the spiritual world, when you're ready to come back onto earth, you leave your spiritual entity, your spiritual soul, but the soul stays with you. You leave that spiritual vibration and you come back down to earth to hopefully do things different. That's what karma is.
I'm here with Tom Silver, author of Never Fear Dying Again, his most recent book. And where can they pick that up there?
Well, you can actually pick that up through my websites, actually. The book right now I'm selling, I'm actually been donating to the book to some of the spiritual centers that I'm affiliated with. I've been giving the book out to people, but it will be available in the near future on Amazon. It'll be available on my website. I do want to mention something very important, and that is that I am presenting a 4-week course called Happier, Healthier, Sexier, Wealthier. And this is a course, basically, all the proceeds, it's only basically $15 per workshop. I could be charging hundreds of dollars.
Right.
And I'm not making a penny. I'm giving it all away to the spiritual center, and that's the Pleasant Valley Center for Spiritual Living. And I do believe the more that we become enlightened and spiritual, the more we're going to be giving our services away. Not to what we can have and receive, but what you can give. And if you give without the expectation of receiving anything, that's the greatest gift, Bradley.
You can pick up his book, Never Fear Dying Again, on his website, which is www.tomsilver.com. Now, Tom, we were talking about levels of reincarnation.
Right.
And coming back.
Right.
Which is part of Never Fear Dying Again, right?
Right. You come back to actually make amends for the things you've done in your past life. It's what we call karma.